Alright, so this is another episode, or I'll add it on to a previous one, or previous day that I finished. Today we're just going to be stripping down this axle because none of these mounts will fit for the setup I have. I got this out of a Ford Explorer. It's a Ford 8.8. It was in a parts Jeep that I had, but it's a 373 limited slip, and it should work out good for what I want to do. So I'm going to start stripping all the stuff off here, and then unfortunately today it's raining pretty good out, so we'll have to plasma cut in here, which is going to be a mess, but oh well, it is what it is, and I need to get it done. So yeah, we'll go from here. And we're gonna take these brake lines off. This axle will end up being shortened on this driver's side, like 2 7/8 of an inch. That'll get me a shorter axle so I can fit wider wheels and tires. So yeah. Alright, well these were just wool down here, so I'm just gonna plasma torch them off. These mounts off and these shock or spring mounts off. I'm probably going to leave the shock mounts because I'll probably use them. If not, I'll just have to relocate them, but I can still use the bracket. Alright, well that only took about an hour of grinding, which sucked, but it's gotta get done. So here's what we have. Pretty much all the mounts cut off. I left these for the sway bar. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet for my sway bar, but leave them there just in case. And the shock mounts. I don't know if I'll be able to use these, but we'll see. But yeah, I'm gonna clean this freaking mess up. I was kind of bummed I had to do this in the garage, but it was raining and it's gotta get done one way or another. We got that cleaned up, and next we'll probably end up cutting that side and shortening it 2 7/8. But yeah, that'll be another day. Probably the same episode though. Alright, have a good one. Alright. I've realized after the last couple episodes that I've made, I've just done a terrible job at explaining everything I've been doing, the stuff that's already been done. So I'm gonna try and get better at that. But as you can see on the last couple episodes, I cleaned off this axle over here, and got it ready to cut. I should have opened it up and looked at the differential. I've got it closed right now, but it was basically rusted. This sat outside for a few years at my house. There was no water in it. It's just humid where I live, so it just rusted. So this past weekend, I went and got myself a new diff. $100 at the junkyard, not too bad. Cleaned it all off camera just because we already did that one. So we're gonna chop this today and shorten it. Also, we'll clean this up real good, weld these like that one was, and like everyone else says online, there's a really good guy on YouTube that does a whole process of this and how he does it. Basically, you cut 2 7/8 out of a section that you think you should be cutting. I'm gonna be cutting where there's not going to be like a bag mount on where there's a bunch of weight, or you're going to have a control arm, mounted to it. So this is going to be kind of directly in line with my frame rail. I already had it set up and measured everything out. So that should be in a good location, and then we'll TIG weld it back up, TIG weld all these. And yeah, so this is just kind of a expedited version of shortening this. Just clean it all up, cut 2 7/8 out of the long side. The driver's side is the long side. So, and I had to kind of go get another axle shaft out of the junkyard anyways, which was like $30. So instead I just spent $100 and I got a new axle, not new, but a good axle that I checked while I was there, and 2 short drive shafts. So instead of being 59 and some change, we'll be at 56 and some change, or 57, whatever it is. So yeah, let's get to it. So like I said, we'll be cutting out where I think I should cut, where there won't be a bunch of stress. So I went along and measured 7 1/4 from the housing, and then 10 1/8, which will give us our 2 7/8 inch measurement. Taped it off like the other guy did, measured out really good. This actually took me a while to do just to make it super nice cut. We marked a center line, so when we put this back together, they'll match up. So both your, you know, your brake lines and calipers will match that side. So yeah, we'll get to cutting. Full disclosure, I've never done this before, so this is all new to me, but it shouldn't be too hard. Start on the outside one, cut the outside one off first, and then cut the inside one off. That helps you keep this on here, versus if you cut the inside one off first, then you'd have to kind of balance this. So we're just going to cut along this as close as we can, and then we'll clean it up after. And yeah, if we fuck up, we got another one right there. So, oh well, let's do it. Okay, so we got that cut, mocked up with 3-inch C-channel. I only have one clamp on there right now. I need to find my other clamp. You're gonna want 2 clamps to do this, so I gotta find that first before I even start welding. So we got 17 and 7/16. We want 17 3/8, so we are an 1/8 heavy, which is good. You don't want to take too much off. I mean, it wouldn't be ideal. So we'll take a little bit more off. We'll bevel these edges, and we will weld it back up. I'll probably have to do that tomorrow because I gotta get another clamp. So this episode will be continued. Okay, back, we got another clamp. So now I got 2 clamps. Gonna clean this up a little bit more. We're a 1/16 long, so we'll clean this up. There's a little bit of gap on this side and there's no gap on the other side. So I'll try and get those about a 1/16 gap on this side. So we'll just kind of grind the other side down a little bit more and put it back up there, and hopefully we're ready to tack and start welding. I wrote more over here. I gotta take a little bit more off this side, so. Take a little bit off at a time and keep mocking it up. off again. Man, we are dead nuts. Okay, so now we'll go in and bevel all these edges, take it off there, bevel all these edges, clean the inside out really well. I'm gonna drill this hole out so there's a bevel on it, and I'm gonna plug it with weld. That's the vent hole. I'm gonna put the vent hole somewhere else, but my bag mount's gonna sit right on that, so it can't be there. So either we'll drill another hole somewhere else and put the bag mount, or put the vent there, or we can put the vent, I'm pretty sure, on this, maybe. We'll see. Not too worried about it right now though, so that's fine. We'll get to cleaning. We got a nice little bevel on that, if you can see it. There it is. Left probably like an 1/8 inch land on there. And same on this one. We are right on the line. We are doing great. Perfect. Okay, now we'll drill out that one breather hole, clean up the inside really nicely so it welds really nicely. Alright, we took a large drill bit and just kind of countersunk this, and then I'll put a little piece of copper under here, or a large piece of copper, and just kind of dig around until we fill it up, and then we won't have a hole there anymore. But I'm gonna get this cleaned up with acetone inside here, inside there, around there, and then we can start welding. Alright, we got this set up down here to fill this hole. Got the welder set up, turned on, and we're gonna go to filling. Take us a while with TIG, but it'll look nice. Okay, we got that hole plugged. Now we are set up to start tacking. I'm gonna just kind of tack each side, and then I'll tack each side up and down, and then we'll just weld it in quarters. So I already measured, and we are perfect. We're so perfect. So yeah, as long as we don't move a whole lot, we should be okay. So let's get the tack in here. Okay, we'll measure again. Good on that side. Measure it again. 3/4 or 17 3/8. 17 3/8. We are golden. So we will start here, weld to here, flip it, do the same thing on the opposite side. So yeah, I hope to God this fucking works. Fuck it. Two down, measure it. Dude, we are dead nuts. My God. Perfect. Oh, I was shaking. That one was very, very hot. Alright, I didn't fill up a lot, so we'll do a cap over it all, and then we'll be done. I am no pipe welder, but those turned out really good. So I am happy with that, and I test fit the axle and it fits exactly like that side. I've measured both sides. I am happy with that. So I'm gonna go along and now I'm gonna weld these because they're only plug welded from the factory and 3 places, and supposedly they spin under a lot of load or horsepower, so just do it for safety. So yeah, we'll do that right now. They should be good to go. So 309, use 309 filler material and you'll be good to go. Crackling and popping though. It was really hard to get in there and clean, like really, really deep. So, I mean, I cleaned it as good as I could. And alright, well that's gonna wrap it up for tonight. We got it shortened, we got the hole plugged, we got the axle tubes all welded around, we got it in here now, finally even on both sides. So I'm gonna have to another day take this out of here and clean the shit out of that thing, get all the dust and crap out of there, and reseal it back up, put the shafts back in, and then we can start mocking up the bag mounts and hopefully the actual control arms, which I have these old ones from a Jeep I built a long time ago, and then I scrapped because it was rusted. So I'm going to use these for probably mock-up, and then we'll go with some Johnny joints just because they're not so, say, abrasive. Those things are solid, and Johnny joints, there's a little bit of cushion, and we want to try okay. We want to try decent. So yeah, this will probably just be the end of today, but I'll just add on to this episode next time I continue with this. So, yep. Bye-bye.